Hello, Aquarius. You are first of the Valentines. And hi, this is Vera. This reading will definitely be further illuminated if you go back and watch my last couple of videos, just for the overall sort of themes that are going on. I'm first going to pull one from the Dreaming Way for your sweetheart in its innocence, its eagerness, and its quiet pulsing. It's deep calm and wells of hope. It's deep hope, and it's very, very deep and very, very vibrant capability. Oh my goodness, Four of Wands. So it's an ability to make space for a union of hearts, a spaciousness, a place on earth for this interplay between the innocence and the eagerness and the depth of two hearts or more in some sort of agreement to be in this interplay together. Making sure that my film's still going. Okay, and then what you have to work with specifically as an Aquarius. Actually, I'm going to start with coming out of the eclipses of January. Okay, so the Five of Wands. There may have been ways that you have protected yourself or learnt to sort of showcase or inhibit or somehow display your heart even as you hid parts of yourself. So sort of a way that you've been in the world where you've felt a need, or things have been encrusted upon your heart from experiences and sort of belief systems and just ideas that were exposed to you from a very young, very impressionable age. And coming out of these eclipses, you're kind of going backwards from the Five of Wands to this Four of Wands, and this is more of the original. This is why you're here. This is what your soul came to experience, not this. I mean, yes, I suppose your soul did come to experience this, but your soul came to work with all of us to bring in what I've talked about in my last long video for everyone. Heaven on earth. How do we create heaven on earth? How do we enable ourselves and each other to reside on and as part of this planet in our souls, in the gorgeous agency and curiosity and quietude and outrageous joy of our soul's true shape? How do we make room for that, even within our own perception of ourselves, and then with our perceptions of others, and then with our ways of being with others? Okay, and on a practical level, I actually got the Five of Wands in the last reading for the collective too, and I was talking a lot about just how might we walk each other through these times, even as we are letting go of these sort of old constraints and old illusions, and I was going to say old visions, but which have appeared to us now as illusions. How do we find our way into that soul's true shape as not something that we need to defend either. We don't need to hide our heart behind this incrustation or display it in some way that takes extra energy, that takes this energy to like display ourselves this way. No, you can rest. You can rest in the truth of your heart. Okay. But again, as you move into not using the old defenses, some of which may be active and some of which may be passive defenses, but as you let go of those, there may still, you might think, oh, well, then all conflict should cease. But actually, there may still be some weirdness and adjustment and conflict as you move into that more true alignment, because we have all been held in place in this sort of more troubled, not quite right alignment. And so as we move into an alignment that is actually more true, there still might be some awkwardness or even, difficulty as we do that. What do you have to draw upon particularly as an Aquarius at this time and in your sweet season? I'll put this here. This Tinkerbell from my grandma who was an Aquarius. The world, the whole world, you have it all to draw upon. We are here. There is so much for us to work with. There is so much materiality and spaciousness, for us to work with. And so not to be afraid. Again, I've been talking a lot about as a divine feminine, as somebody who really resonates with being feminine. And I know this is true for other people who resonate with other archetypes too. But there's been a fear. There's been a fear of being fully present. I know very much that this happens for men or those who identify more as male as well. And in all sorts of myriad archetypes and variations, I'm sure that, but there's been a fear. And that's part of what the incrustation around the heart was. There's been a fear of being fully present. And that brings in a fear of being like anything that you consider sort of your sort of practical, almost mundane 3D, like things that you have to do. And then also the more, exciting or amazing or spiritual things, or just gorgeous happiness of love. Like, how do you bring that into your daily practical routines? And also, how do you let go of your fear, both of what might be tagged 3D and what might be tagged 5D, and live in a balance in this as we all work to create this heaven on earth that as I've been speaking about in my last few videos, and even back into the fall. I think I'm getting about to my 8th month here on YouTube. Probably my 30th or more year of working with tarot, although of course I keep learning. Okay, and then going into the eclipses that'll come in July, it's a laying down. It is a laying down and walking away from arguments. So in that, as you're letting go of these old defenses, if there are people you can't come into some sort of aligned agreement with how you're going to hold each other as being part of each other's lives, you will have to walk away and let that go. And perhaps it will come back and perhaps it will not come back. It's not for you to control or manipulate, or not that you would manipulate, but it's just it's something that's beyond your control, which can be hard to deal with or even recognize, but it's beyond your control. So you do what you can to become in this space, this place. This can be seen as one particular, romantic, committed relationship, which it definitely signifies, but also just that there is a place in your life, like within your body and your being, of self-care, of movement and sustenance and rest. Okay, so to be there, to have space to be there, and then to have space in your life to work with all the things we work with, to work with money, to work with your shelter, to work with all these things that we work with your labor, all the things that we do, whether recognized or not recognized, or held in proper value, in the society at large, or even within your own group. That's one thing that we're moving into as we move into alignment, is that everything will be held in its true value. The value of things of a lot of unpaid labor in our society that is like the most valuable and gorgeous labor of life. You know, so just how we value things and how things revolve or resonate with each other, you know, like what money is paid for doing what work, that kind of thing, like how we value things. But also, okay, I went off on a little bit of a tangent, but to hold space for that absolute calm and tender, gorgeous living of a way in which everyone is honored for who they are. And if people, if it becomes that like there's certain people or friendships or, you know, relationships that you have to let become farther apart at this moment in time, in the field of time, to let that be okay and to not try to force it. I mean, maybe not to try to force the letting go, but also not to try to force the remaining. It's a tricky thing to come into alignment, but you have all the materials to work with. You yourself contain all the elements and archetypes that you need in order to find your way at this time, in these times, and with and amongst all the souls who you've entrusted to be in your life and who have entrusted you to be in their lives. And how do we work with each other? And it may be in ways that surprise you or not what you expect, but to relinquish that part of the getting back to this more wholeness of the deep faith that is the beat of your heart as you came into being on this earth. Your soul decided to take on form. You know, what trust, you know, what trust and faith brought you here to do your works. And to be helped. And to be helped and honored. You know, with and amongst others. 5,